Hey guys, welcome to another video. In this video, I'm going to talk about why I think it's important you remember this rule. You cannot trust most people. I know this might sound negative to many of you, but this, I believe, is part of the unprogramming you need from all the toxic advice which says share and be open in order to find more people to connect with. The premise already is faulty because it assumes that most people have good intentions, which I wonder, have they even been paying attention to how people are in our society today? Part of me thinks that no, they haven't. Or they're paying attention but choosing to ignore all the negatives that they see or just rationalize them away. I think people just don't like to think negatively. It's very unpleasant and we don't usually cope with it very well. In fact, studies have actually shown that too much negativity, like in rumination for example, can increase your rates of depression, anxiety, and paranoia, among other mental illnesses as well. This is why they choose instead to go the other extreme and try to think only positively. A large part of the reason why so many people are obsessed with thinking positively has to do with influencers such as Joel Osteen, who I actually talked about in a previous video, so definitely check out the link in the description below, and other motivational speakers like him. These people oftentimes mislead the population, telling them things that don't actually help them and are not holistic or whole in their application. So they're only focusing on one thing only, which is just think positively and manifest your reality. All this leads to is a false perception of how humans are, because we usually have the tendency, at least here in America, to move from one extreme to the other, especially if we don't have knowledge about or experience with a certain topic. One of them being this one, on how to trust other people. The good news is that you don't have to be cursed to a negative and bleak existence your entire life, trying to just navigate this world of people who, a lot of whom, or many of whom, just have ulterior motives or just have a questionable moral compass. I'm here to tell you that it's still possible to be happy and have meaningful friendships in your life with high quality people without having to sacrifice your privacy and mental health in the process by being overwhelmed with too much distrust of other people. So, if most people can't be trusted, then you might be wondering, what is the percentage that can actually be trusted? This depends on the person, but if you are looking for my opinion, which is obviously why you're watching this video, otherwise you wouldn't be watching it. In my personal opinion, I would argue that the maximum percentage of people that you can trust in your entire life, a maximum, is 5%. The ones you will interact with most frequently, though, out of that 5% and choose to be close to, is going to go down to like 1 or 2%. Everybody else in your life that you interact with, which is the vast majority of people, is just going to be a colleague, a coworker, a neighbor, a person that you see at an establishment that you frequent, whether it's like a library or a bookstore or a coffee shop or a mall or a clothing store, whatever the case might be. Just because they're nice to you, it doesn't mean that they're trustworthy. Because guess what? A lot of people act nice because they're told to do that, not because that's who they actually are. And so you have to be able to pay attention to that and be careful and try to discern which sort of niceness is equal to trustworthiness as a friend. This means that you shouldn't just go around and trust anyone and everyone just because they're nice to you. Yes, they're nice to you, that's true, but just to your face. But ask yourself this question: are they nice to you behind your back? Oftentimes the answer is no. This doesn't mean that they're like evil people, but what I'm trying to say is that this connection that you feel with others is shallow, most likely. And it's also a reflection of you as a person, not just on them. It means that you have no genuine friendships in your life, or that you're just that desperate. You might call it being open-minded, but in reality, I call it recklessness. This is why you need to reserve your trust only to those who truly deserve it. So that means 90% or so of the trust that you have goes to those specific individuals that I'm talking about, the 1 or 2%. Everyone else in the world gets to split the 10% leftovers that you have, and they need to divide it equally among themselves or however that goes. When it comes to friendships, it's not a democracy. That shouldn't be surprising to anyone. Anyone who treats it like it's a democracy is going to find themselves heartbroken, betrayed, and alone, among other things that you don't want happening to you. Eventually, you'll ask yourself, is anyone even worth trusting anymore? I can't trust anyone. You can't reach that conclusion because it's too pessimistic, which is why you need to take the precautions right now as early as possible. Ultimately, this is not a call to be paranoid or to be thinking so negatively. Walking around in life just being suspicious of everyone's intentions around you for no good reason. That's just being paranoid. Instead, what you need to do is utilize your discernment in order to make sure that you are making the right decision in order to put yourself out there naturally among people who would make good friends, and that usually takes time to develop. You will make mistakes along the way, but make sure that you're trending generally upward in your progress while you are making those mistakes and you're on your journey in your growth. Don't worry about being perfect. No one is perfect except, as I believe, God Himself. Just do your best. Every day, pray to God, and God will ultimately direct you to those who are good for you. So that's it for this video. If you like this content, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, comment, share to get notified about more videos like this. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.